It's Amy, and this is our homeschooling video series. I hope you're enjoying it. And this one is all about teaching social studies and history to your child. You can do that without any formal textbook. You can do it right on your own. I remember history and social studies being taught when I was a child, and it was just boring. It was many dry facts and just nothing that really clicked. And it was just more memorization of special dates and this and that. I never really got a feel for like what was happening and how things went down. So when I taught my children, I wanted a whole living approach, or like a living book approach. I'm using that word wrong. Charlotte Mason. And so what we did, my older ones, we did like world history, a timeline of the world, and we just chose books that would put my child like in the position to be able to read and understand. Like if we were doing the pyramids in that time period, the Egyptians in that time period, we would get books that were written maybe from the viewpoint of maybe one of the slave masters, or one of the workers, or things like that, so they could just get a feel of like, wow, that's what it was like, and be able to put them, immerse themselves in that position to really understand more of the history. And they're going to get so much more out of that, and then just get little bits and pieces from the story about what was going on. And so for my ones this year, we're doing American history, and so I found a site, and I think it's History Books, Great History Books, something like that, and they broke up all the different major events in American history, and they gave you recommendations for books to read. So that was very cool. So I went through and chose different levels for each grade, and I chose a read aloud book. And so I was going to read and kind of give a little bit of background and things that I knew about that different time period, and then they're going to read books on their own, so be able to put information out themselves. And so they just can retain so much more of that. If they're reading a book about Civil War, instead of getting a bunch of facts and numbers, to be able to get one of the girls maybe that was sewing coats for the soldiers and how her life was affected and how things happened. And so it's just a good way to do that. There's lots of great videos on history, especially nowadays, documentaries. I love for high school, middle school, and high school age, is the America, the Story of Us. Those are very good, in-depth videos of how America came about in that. And so they have, on my set I have that recommendation. I broke it all down and gave some book recommendations and videos that supplement, that go in with it, just to add more to the timeline. So they had a downloadable study guide as well, and I typed it all up and put it in question form, so you can print it off and use it, and then for your child to fill in the answers. So that's a good thing for when they're older. And when they're younger, when your children are like kindergarten, first grade, pretty much up to I think third or fourth grade, most books, history is going to teach you, or social studies is going to be about learning about your child's community and the workers in the community, and things that, to me, it was always, do they really need to learn that from a textbook? Don't they know that in our community we have a fire hall, and the firemen are volunteers, or we have police workers, and just things like that. And you don't necessarily need buy a textbook that teaches that. You can just tell your child that, and they can learn that. You can go on field trips there, and they can learn all about that. So skip the textbooks when they're younger. Just teach them what things that talk about your community, and talk about how all the workers help make it one thing. You can also teach states, like geography. Get a map, get a big giant map. I think they have in the poster section now at Walmart, and you can buy a map for $5, and learn all the states. We did, my second oldest daughter did the 50 states. So we would take and I got a printout of the state, and then she would look up the state flower, the state bird, maybe a couple facts about it. They have videos, and I think it's called How America Got Its Shape. I believe that's what it's called. And that's a very cool, it's on Netflix. It might be able to get videos for it too. And that goes through and teaches you, and then it'll give you some nice information about the states, and also tells you how it was formed and things like that. So much out there free, that your child's going to get so much more out of. I like watching those America How It's Made. Just my husband and I watched it, and we were like, wow, look at all the information I had no idea about. So that's a good thing to do, to teach about states, where you can do it on paper, and then they can have a nice little folder when they're finished with it too. And then you can broaden out into the different countries, and then the world, or different sections of the world, and so much you can do just on your own by printing off a few maps, maybe off the internet. You can fill them in with you can do a timeline. We did the world history timeline, and then we just made right now we're having on our wall cardstock, and I just wrote big black Sharpie marker line in the middle, and then I wrote Native Americans as the first part. So then all the stuff we learned about them, we're going to give them little pieces of, I think I'll take a cardstock and cut it maybe in 8 pieces. And then when my daughter reads her living textbook, or her living book on it, whatever it may be about, maybe it's going to be about the white men coming in to kill the Indians, or Pocahontas, or whatever the stories are, then they can write and make a little card for it, and then we'll stick it on our timeline. If I have to add more piece of paper for that timeline, we will. And then you can just add on as you go down. It's a real simple way to do it. We did that with our world history, and I'm like, that works great. And they have a visual on the wall. choose different biographies that they can learn from that. I'm trying to think anything else. We did the I know my friends for geography, they're visiting all the 50 states. So like, how cool is that? So when they do them, you know, you can learn different facts about them. There's lots of videos too on that too, where families have gone on and done that. And I know there's a couple of texts, like books about families' road trips across America, and then they do different things that they've learned about it. So lots of good ways you can teach social studies to your child without buying textbooks. So I hope you enjoyed this video series, and I look forward to doing the next one with you. Have a wonderful day today.